What's up, everybody? This is Jesse.
This is CJ.
And we are the PokeFam. So we have a very special video for you today. It's actually a two-part video. Number one is we're actually showing you the cards that we're sending into PSA and Beckett. So we have like around 200 and something cards that we're sending into the two organizations. And we're actually going to show you, for the second part of the video, we're going to show you exactly how to submit to Beckett and PSA. And this is a very interesting video because we have half the cards that we're submitting to PSA that's, well, more than half. Most of them are submitting it to value, which is like $10 service. And we have part of the cards that we're submitting to PSA Express, which is a 5-day business day turnaround. And then we actually have a card that we're cross-grading from CGC. So we're going to show you exactly how to do it in the next video. This video is a pre-grade guess the grade prediction video that we're going to do. Obviously, some of these cards we're going to see sooner. The Express, the Charizards that we're submitting, and some of these cards we're going to see like 8-9 months down the road. But we're going to do a prediction video. We're both going to look at some of these. Actually, we're not going to go through all of them, but most of the ones that we think have a good chance of getting 9s and 10s, and obviously the more valuable ones. So, okay, so let me explain this first. Okay, so obviously everything over here we're submitting to PSA, everything over here plus this is the Shiny Star V pile. Okay, so this is the Evolutions pile. This is the what is this? Vivid Voltage. This is the I think Burning Shadows and some of the other sets, and this is the Charizard pile, and this is Lost Thunder. And this is all from Shiny Star V. Obviously, we've opened probably like 200 packs of Shiny Star V, so there's still a ton of hits, right? So all of these we're submitting to PSA value, which is kind of like bulk service, and these vintage Charizards we're submitting to PSA Express, and also we're actually going to submit this card, which is a CGC 8.5 base set 2 Charizard that we're submitting for cross grading at PSA. And so now we're getting to the really nice cards that we pulled are these 2 packs. So this is I think I'm submitting it to the 20-day service at Beckett, which is kind of like the value of kind of like the regular service for PSA. The reason why we picked out these cards is because we think all of these cards have legitimate shots of getting at least a pristine Beckett 10, the gold label 10. You know, a very long shot of getting the black label. Obviously, that's pretty much impossible to get. But all of these cards have huge potential of getting at least a Beckett 10. So these are going to Beckett, and these 2 are going to Beckett Express because, to me, they're pretty much absolutely perfect. And they're 2 of the favorite cards that CJ and I have pulled this year. Obviously, we pulled the English version of the Charizard, Shiny Charizard V. We actually pulled it, submitted it to PSA, got a PSA 10, actually sold it because somebody offered us a lot of money to buy it. And then we regretted it, so we came back and bought the Beckett 10 version that's coming. So we have the English version of this guy. But this is one of my favorite cards. Actually, this is one of probably the first modern ultra rare Charizard, hyper rare, secret rare Charizard I pulled in my lifetime, and it was an emotional journey for me when I pulled this guy. Actually, we have that video on our channel, I believe, when we pulled it last week. So this is one of my favorite cards, and the Rainbow Rare Pikachu VMAX from Vivid Voltage is probably her favorite card. She pulled this in her like 10th Vivid Voltage pack. Highlight of her, the highlight I still think is when you pull 10 Evolutions Charizard Holos in like 100 packs. That's like the craziest hot streak you'll ever see. Too bad we don't have it on video. We should have recorded that. But this card is probably her favorite card. And if you've pulled Vivid Voltage or English Modern sets, you know how hard it is to get like a perfect card. Like, I would say 90% of these cards have terrible centering, crazy edge wear. This card has none of that. Okay, so the front, to me, the surface and the centering is absolutely perfect. The only thing that I would see wrong with this card is it's a tiny bit, tiny bit off in the back in terms of the centering, top and bottom. But it's very minimal. So I know for sure it'll get a PSA 10. But because I believe it's super close to the perfect card, I think it's a Beckett 10. Gold label at least, with a very long shot of getting a black label. But I still think at least it's going to get a pristine 10. So we're going to start with these cards, obviously. So my prediction for this is a Beckett gold label pristine 10 with 9.5 on centering, everything else a 10. Like, what's your prediction?
10 gold label.
Gold label 10, right? All right, so Pikachu VMAX. Let's show this guy, all right? Centering, in the front, pretty much absolutely perfect. Top and bottom as well. You know, I've seen some really bad ones on YouTube where they kind of like cut off. You can't even see anything on the bottom, and they cut off like part of the Pokemon logo or something. This is the first first and only Rainbow Rare Pikachu we pulled, and he is literally almost perfect. This is something that's very hard to come by, especially because Vivid Voltage is one of the worst printed sets in modern history. So yeah, my prediction is there's absolutely nothing in the edges and corners. So if the comeback's not a pristine 10 and then I see like edgeware and cornerware, I know something's like they did something wrong, right? So when they open it up, sometimes they do damage the card. I'm so confident in this card that I feel like if it doesn't come back a gold label pristine 10, they probably did something to damage the card. It's not our fault. So anyways, and we're not going to sell this card. So this is our favorite card. One of our favorite cards that we've pulled. Not the most valuable to us, even though he's super valuable. He's like more than 2,000 USD now. The recent sales, they had one that was sold for 2,500 USD and one that was sold for 2,000 USD. So it's just super valuable. Not the most valuable cards that we have, but still like one of our favorites. So we pulled this ourselves. Yeah. So anyways, we're not selling this. At least it's gonna be a Beckett 9.5. Still a gold label, but I feel like it has to be a 10. Alright, so let's move on to the next card. Our Shiny Star V Charizard V. This is, like I said, I pulled this myself, and this is actually probably my favorite card. So I looked at it front and back. He's absolutely perfect in the front again. The only potential issue that I see is maybe it's slightly off in the centering in the back. But there's, again, no edge wear, no corner whitening. There's absolutely no flaws whatsoever in the corners and edges. The front centering and surface is absolutely perfect. The back is pretty close to perfect. Maybe tiny bit off left to right. So, again, I feel like this has got a shot of getting a black label 10. Because I've seen black label 10s with tiny, just being a bit off in the back. If it's not bad enough to be a 9.5, that's a 10 in the centering, right? Everything else has to be perfect in this card. Again, if something it doesn't come back a pristine 10 at the very least, I feel like they probably did something to damage the card. So this, again, my prediction for this card is a pristine Beckett 10. What about you?
Yeah, it's 10.
Yeah, it's a 10, right? All right. So these two we're submitting to Beckett Express. Everything else on the left side we're submitting to Beckett regular service, which is kind of like a 20-day turnaround, but because they're less valuable, but I still think all of these have a legitimate shot of getting a Beckett gold label 10. So we're gonna go through these a little bit quicker. So I think this is a 10. Really, again, the front is pretty perfect. I've looked at all of these cards have some centering issues. That's why they're going to PSA.
Yeah,
this card is
a little bit off.
Just a tiny bit, right?
The left side and the right side. See, left side is more thicker. Doesn't really show on the camera, but yeah, if you see,
it's a tiny bit.
Yeah, it's a tiny bit. But the back is pretty good.
Oh, I see it. Maybe a dot of whitening at the top.
Yes, a dot here.
Yeah. You know what? This might be a 9.5, but still. Okay, so I would say because of that dot at the top, my prediction would probably be a Beckett gold label 9.5 with the potential of getting a... Should we submit this to PSA then, if that's the case? Should we change it?
I think it could be a gold label 10.
It still could be a 10?
A dot, I don't think that will affect that.
Beckett is pretty tough. Because I know for sure something like this will get a PSA 10. But in order to even get a gold label 10, you have to get 9.5 in one of them and then 10. If, say, for example, if the centering is a 9.5, it's not a perfect 10, then everything else has to be perfect in order to get a Beckett gold label 10.
Okay, maybe this one could go to PSA.
Yeah. Upon second inspection, I feel like this would get a Beckett BGS 9.5. So maybe we're better off sending it to PSA. Right. Okay. Well, it's good we did this video. So this guy's gonna go into this pile over here.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, if I don't pre-grade one of these cards, a Beckett Gold Label 10, it's not going to Beckett. Because a Beckett 9.5 is roughly equivalent to the PSA 10, but worth a lot less. Yeah, this card, I examined it. I feel like this is still a pretty, like I said, I feel like this could be a Gold Label 10. I think the only issue is it's slightly off in the centering. Maybe just by like a fraction of a millimeter. I think it's pretty close. It's hard to tell the top and bottom for these cards because the top is obviously is part of the full art.
I don't see any off in here.
Yeah, this is a really, really good card.
Yeah, Beckett definitely.
Yeah, this is let's say a pristine 10. Right. These gold cards, we pulled quite a few. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. A few of these cards are slightly off in the centering, but everything else I feel like is perfect. So that's why I put them over here. And also I think the gold label Beckett 10 would look pretty nice with the gold cards. So
A little bit off.
yeah, it's just a tiny bit off left to right.
Off.
But these Japanese cards, man, like the quality is so much, it's night and day compared to English cards. Most of these cards, at the very, very least, will not have any edge wear and corner whitening, right? Like most of these have perfect, like the condition is perfect. Just maybe centering might be a tiny bit off. So the gold Eternatus V, the first one, I feel like it's going to be a Beckett 10. And then we have another one, obviously. I feel like this guy is maybe slightly off left to right. Everything else is perfect. So, another pristine 10 to me. I examined these cards very closely.
I agree.
Okay, another Beckett pristine 10 for the Eternatus V gold card. Now it's the Eternatus V Max gold card. This card looks pretty much perfect to me.
Yeah.
I think the centering is perfect.
Yeah, center is perfect. It's the perfect. The most imperfect one.
Yeah, I feel like this has a shot of getting a black label. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, one of these cards will come back a black label. I know it's super tough, but it'll be still pretty cool. I personally don't own any black label 10s, so it'll be nice to get one of these come back a black label. This is a Magenta V gold card. So it's slightly off left to right. Everything else is perfect. So 9.5 for the centering and everything else a 10. So prediction is Beckett 10 gold, pristine 10. Don't have any dots, right? Like most of these cards don't even have any
I
dots.
got that white here.
Oh, you're right.
Very little bit.
Man, I kind of missed that. Yeah, so okay. So because it's got that dot at the bottom, it's not going to get a pristine 10. So this is how tough it is. This is why getting pristine 10s from Beckett is probably 10 times harder than a PSA 10. Just that tiny dot in the back plus being just a tiny bit off center in the front will keep it from being a Beckett 10. So let's put it in the PSA pile. Yeah, it's good that we're doing this video. So our prediction obviously for these cards are PSA 10s and Beckett 9.5s, but like I said, 9.5s are worth a lot less than the PSA 10s, even though they're same conditions. We're going to submit them to PSA. We don't think it's got a legitimate shot of getting a pristine 10. Yeah, this guy is, again, left and right just a tiny bit, right? I think it's pretty close. I think it's pretty good. Oh yes, yeah, you're right. Left is just slightly thicker. And nothing in the back.
Still here. There's the same place white dot.
Oh, you're right. What? Yeah, there's a tiny dot at the bottom. Yeah, so unfortunately, again, I feel like this is a PSA 10, but not going to be a Beckett pristine 10 because it's not perfect in the centering. It's got a tiny dot, so that's going to keep it from being 9.5, 10, 10, 10 with the subgrades. So this guy's going in the PSA file. Yeah, this is how tough Beckett is. I examined all of these cards left and right, and most, like, these are all not Beckett 10 material, and these are the only ones that I think had a chance. And now, obviously, we've taken out two more. So this is Skyla full art. We have two Skylas, and this is the better one that we found. Still slightly off, I feel like, with the centering left to right. Actually, not so bad.
Yes.
It's pretty good. Yeah, this might be getting a 10 with the centering. And the back there's no dots, right? No whitening. Okay. Yeah, so this is... I feel like this might get we might have a shot at a black label for this. Again, the waifu from this set. We actually have the Marnie as well. Okay, so Beckett, Pristine 10. Alright, so these two are going to Beckett. We've already examined them very closely, and these guys are going to PSA. I feel like there's not that much we have to go through. Most of these I feel like has a legitimate shot of getting a PSA 10. I'd be surprised if we don't get PSA 10s for half of these. So the only ones that I kind of really want to show off is obviously I love look at how many shiny V's and shiny V Maxes we pulled. I've taken out all of the normal V Maxes other than Lapras because Lapras means it's like really special to us. We love Laprases. Everything else is either a full art trainer or full art shiny V Max or shiny V or amazing rares. So
I'm gonna go for quickly.
Yeah, let's go through them quickly. We don't need to spend that much time on fucking Sun Scorches. Yeah, and then we got 8 Lapras V Maxes.
Yes.
Again, I feel like all of these are PSA 10s. Literally, all of them are PSA 10s in my opinion. So if you have the PSA 10 pop report is going to explode after our submission. Lapras V. I was going to submit him into Beckett, but then I looked at the centering is slightly off. It's got like some tiny dots. Same story as the other guys. So it's so tough. It's so tough getting a pristine 10 from Beckett. Grimmsnarl. And then we got a few more Grimmsnarls in DDVs. Look at how many shiny V's we've gotten. We actually pulled 2 God packs. Obviously, the God packs that we pulled aren't so good, but still, the God packs.
Worst.
Yeah.
God
All of
ever.
these have a good shot of getting a PSA 10. Yeah. Look at these doubles. And yeah, so these are the cards I really want to show you guys. Amazing rares. They're absolutely gorgeous. I hope Pokemon keeps printing amazing rares, or maybe I hope they don't because they'll make ours more valuable. But they're so beautiful. They're absolutely gorgeous. The way the paint kind of just like makes it jump out of the page. Obviously, the Reshiram is gorgeous, gorgeous Pokemon. So we have I think we have 8 Reshirams. All of these are close to perfect condition. PSA 10s for sure. Some of them might have a chance of getting Beckett 10, but you know, just for consistency purposes, we're submitting them to PSA. And then obviously Yveltal. These guys are super gorgeous too. So I think I have probably 10 of these. Absolutely gorgeous, and look at these. Look at these. We got 10 of these. And at the very end, we have 12 amazing rare Kyogres. If you know me, you know I'm a Kyogre and Suicune collector. And this is absolutely bonkers. Like, this is orgasmic to me. Like, when I look at how beautiful these cards are, they're all packed fresh. And literally, all of them are PSA. I expect PSA 10s for all 12 of these. I'm not even kidding. I looked at all of them. They're absolutely perfect. None of them have any corner or edgeware. And the centering might be close to perfect for all of them. So I expect 12 PSA 10 Kyogre Amazing Rares. So you can add 12 to the PSA pop for these Kyogre Amazing Rares right now. I'm calling it. All of them are going to get PSA 10s. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. And obviously, the waifu. Waifu Po from Shiny Star V. Marnie. So, Marnie, I wanted to submit her into Beckett, but she's just a bit off with the centering in front. And also, actually, that's not so bad. I feel like this might get a pristine 10. Just examine it. It's just slightly off left to right, but the corners and edges are perfect. No, I think this is a Beckett. Okay, you know what? This will go over here. Okay, Beckett pristine 10 waifu Marnie. Okay, nice. So, all right. So we're gonna actually put this girl at the very bottom here. So we're gonna add these to the bottom. We're gonna add them into system later. For the next video, we're actually gonna show you guys how to input PSA and Beckett into the submission forms of PSA and Beckett, and also show you guys how to ship them out. Very straightforward. Look forward to that. Okay, so next, obviously this is actually let's show the Charizards last. Show Charizards last because that's the express service. So we're just gonna go real quick. So these are some of the evolutions. Obviously all these flying and surfing Pikachus. People might ask like, why are you submitting these to PSA? Because they actually sell for a lot of money. That's crazy to me because all these flying surfing Pikachus have been selling for around 200 USD each. 150 to 250 USD each for all these. So if you look at this is probably half of our surfing Pikachus. I gave some away. I have some in the master sets that I've sold. Yeah, we've sold 2 Expo Evolution master sets. That's how many evolution packs we've opened. And the flying Pikachus have been selling for a lot of money. And I feel like these are going to be easier to grade because obviously it's not holographic. So there's no scratching and print lines and shit like that. So all of these are pretty good, pretty solid. I feel like at least half of these will get PSA 10s. Again, these are English cards that we're talking about, so I'm not as confident in the condition, even though they're all pack fresh. None of these are played ever. We're collectors. We're not TCG competitive players. So I feel like if we can get like a third of these English cards back in the PSA 10, I'm very confident. For most of these Japanese cards, I expect them to be PSA 10s. Yeah, but like I said, the reason why we have so many is because they're valuable. Okay, next one. Stare at these. Okay, Zapdos, one of my favorite cards from Evolutions. It's funny because Evolutions, usually the other sets that you pull, you want to pull the full arts, but for Evolutions, because that nostalgic feeling that you get from pulling the base set arts from the holos, you actually don't want to pull forward. You want to pull holos. So the Zapdos, it's got a crazy low pop for the PSA 10s. I believe there's only like 25 or 40 in the world, and the last PSA 10 Zapdos from Evolutions, I believe, sold for 1,000 USD, 1,000 Canadian, and there's one that sold for 1,500 Canadian before, I think. So even if these come down a little because people are submitting them, like anywhere between like 500 to 1,000 bucks is a lot for these Zapdos. And I feel like 2 of them has a legitimate shot of getting a PSA 10. So I'm gonna keep most of these cards, but if I have duplicates in 10s or 9s, I'm probably gonna list them for sale. But most of them I want to keep because I'm a collector. I'm not a flipper. Obviously, the Lilipad Mew is very special for the Evolution set because I don't believe there was a holo version of this in the past. It was a non-holo. So absolutely gorgeous holo. All 3 of these are have legitimate shots at a PSA 10. Most likely going to be PSA 9s for the reverse. But I feel like the holo, I examined it and it might get a good shot at the 10 because I don't really see any print lines.
No, I don't think so.
No print lines, right? This is what I'm talking about. The Evolution holos, I would not 90%. I would say 99% of them have print lines. That's why they're so hard to grade. There's only 160 PSA 10 Charizard holos, but there's literally like 5,000, 5 or 6,000 PSA 9s. So the chance of getting a PSA 10 for these holos, even though they're packed fresh, is like 2%. So this Lilipad Mew holo that we have, I think it's gonna be as close to a 10 as possible. And then the Venusaur and the reverse holo Arcanine, one of my favorite, one of a lot of people's favorite Kanto Pokemon. Obviously the Gyarados, beautiful, absolutely beautiful art. Most of these cards we submit are not for sale, so some of these cards might not be that valuable, but they mean special to me and to CJ. That's why we're submitting them and having them basically immortalized in a case. But most of these modern sets are going to be 9s and 10s. I don't believe most of them are going to be 10s because they're English cards. But like I said, if we can get a third of them back as 10s, I'm happy. Or maybe a third is too ambitious. A quarter. Let's say a quarter, right? If we can get a quarter of them back in PSA 10s, we won, okay? Because they're so badly printed. Like this Snorlax, for example, like I feel like Snorlax is one of our favorite Pokemon. He's probably not that valuable, but this is one of the few cards that we just included because we want them in frames. The Snorlax and the Togekiss. So this is from Vivid Voltage. Obviously, we pulled a lot from Vivid Voltage, but we pulled the number 1 chase card. This is one of the cards that I really feel bad about. Obviously, we have the secret rare version of this, Rainbow Pikachu. The regular Pikachu VMAX is almost perfect in the front too. This has a legitimate shot of getting a Becca 10. But look at this. What is that? Looks like Eevee, like Eevee, our dog. Like one of our dogs chewed on it or something. Look at this. Like what the hell is happening with this? Who cut this? This is ridiculous. This went from like a PSA 10 to like a PSA 4. Like maybe not 4, like 7 or 8. Maybe an 8. Hopefully we can get like an 8 or 7. Or maybe, I don't know. My prediction for this is probably a PSA 8. But yeah, I mean, he could have been a 10. If it wasn't for that little part, he would be a 10 for sure. It'd be like really close to this guy. Be really close to his big brother, right? But yeah, it would have been nice to have like a PSA Becca 10 version of both of these. But yeah, too bad. I think somebody chewed on it. Yeah, obviously, yeah, these Pikachus. Yeah, these Pikachus are nice. And again, I love these amazing rares. And I'm happy we got them in English first for the Rayquaza and Raikos. Again, they're gorgeous. Rayquaza is one of my favorite Pokemon. It's everyone's favorite Pokemon. And to get it in an amazing rare version is so nice. I'm so happy. Raikos are really nice too. Like I said, I'm a favorite. Suicune is my favorite Pokemon. Gen 2, the legendary beasts, legendary dogs. I dig them. Okay, so Raikou, Suicunes, Mantes, Zamazenta, nice. Zacian, really nice. And these are the Vivid Voltage. You know what? Like I feel so bad. Wait, actually, now that I'm looking at this, I realize we're missing something. What happened to our Lugia? Lugia pre-release? Because we bought 4 of these, right? And I'm hoping at least one of them are going to be a Charizard. Who knows? We got 3 Dolphins from these build and battle boxes.
Yeah, where's the Lugia?
Yeah, what happened to Lugia? We're gonna find him later. Okay, so yeah, this is making me sad. Like, just get rid of these. Turn them around. It's making me sad. Okay, again, another waifu card from the Voltage B. And the gold card, Heroes Medal. All of these are gonna be 9s and 10s. I feel like most of them are gonna be 9s. A couple of them are going to be 8s, but hopefully we can get a quarter. The goal is to get a quarter of them graded a 10, even though all of them are freshly pulled, never played with. Again, these English cards kicked my ass, man. Like every time we look at the conditions, like 90% of them are terrible. Okay, Dreadnought VMAX from, I believe, yeah, he's really good. He's from Champions Path, so one of the few nice cards from Champions Path.
Top and bottom.
It's a little bit off. It's got some like dots in the corners. I don't know. I feel like he might get a 10, but no shot at a gold label 10 for sure. So PSA 10. Yeah, the Raichu and the Raichu combo from Tag Team GX. Yeah, the reason why we wanted to grade this is obviously because we named our dog Raichu, and Raichu is a special Pokemon to us.
Yeah, we just want to breed them and put them in a case to protect them. I don't really care
we don't really care how valuable these cards are. Again, most of these cards will be kept in our collection. So if you're a collector, you want to keep most of these cards. So you don't really care if their value goes super high or super low. Obviously, some of these cards will be going into our shop, but if I only have one of them, I'm not selling them. Okay, so I'm going to keep most of them, and I know in 5 or 10 years, all of these cards will skyrocket. Like, it doesn't matter if they're not, like, if you keep them in PSA 10-9 condition, in 5 or 10 years, all of them will double, triple, quadruple, tenfold. You know, so I'm not too worried about the immediate value. Yeah, these guys are probably going to be, again, PSA 9s, I believe, most of them. If you just look at the centering for most of these guys, this guy's actually pretty good, top to bottom, left to right. This guy's a tiny bit off. Show them like one of these guys. Like, they're terrible. This is why it's so tough to get PSA 10s in English. Look at this. Look at this left to right. Holy. Like, it's non-existent on the left. Like you see the PSA 10, there's like the 55, 45 or something. This is like a 0 and 10.
And
okay.
the ages. You see that there's all buttons.
Yeah, this guy might get like an 8 or something. I don't know even. Yeah, well, he's a rainbow rare, so he deserves the respect to be submitted. But I mean, yeah, like look at these, look at the centering for these cards. Anyways, I don't really care about these cards that much, so this doesn't really hurt me. But what we're about to show you for the Lost Thunder cards, that really hurt. Okay, we're gonna show these guys first. Again, this is Lost Thunder, one of my favorite sets because, well, I mean, there's not a lot of hype after the set, but because I love Suicunes and Lugias, especially Suicunes, and I would say the #1 modern Suicune card, probably close to the Shiny Star V Shiny Suicune is pretty nice too, but the modern Suicune card, probably #1 is the hyper rare, secret rare Suicune Rainbow. We actually pulled both the Lugia, Rainbow Lugia, and the Rainbow Suicune in the span of like 5 packs. This is crazy. Obviously, we bought 3 boxes, but got crazy lucky with this set. But what I'm talking about when I talk about English sets and why I hate on them so much is because look at the centering for these cards. It's so nice to finally pull them, but when you know it doesn't have a chance of getting a PSA 10, it really hurts. Because look at the centering for this guy. It's non-existent on the left. So much on the right. I know it's got absolutely no shot at a PSA 10, but hopefully you can get a 9. Like a PSA 10 for this card is like over $1,000. So, and it's gonna, all the Lugia chase cards are gonna increase like crazy. A lot of them are over $10,000, $50,000 now. Okay, so if that guy was a PSA 10, it would be worth $10,000, $50,000 in the future. But too bad he isn't. So hopefully you can get a 9 for that card. I pulled the this is my first the Rainbow Rare Suicune. And like I said, I don't care if it comes back a 7 or 8 because I'm not going to sell him. He means special to my heart. But I hate the fact that I'm not going to get a 10 because the centering. Like I said, I don't know who cuts these. They get like an Eevee, like a dog cutting these at the machine. Like, how hard is it to get something that's nicely centered? This is why the Vivid Voltage Pikachu VMAX is so special to us, because he's actually cut perfectly. And most of these are just terrible. But yeah, like I said, all of these, I predict a 9 for all of these, except for the ones that have crazy. Yeah, the center.
Top and bottom, left and right.
Yeah, it's probably a 9. Again,
the back is
pretty good. So they're gonna be 9s. None of these are gonna be 10s. The Celebi, I believe one of the Celebis are really off, and the other one's slightly better. Actually, they're both kind of off. So they're probably both going to be.
This one's off.
Yeah, they're both gonna be 9s.
They're both off.
Yeah, they're both pretty off. Yeah, like I said, they're English cards. What do you expect? Like, I expect them to be better by now, but they've been printing them for 25 years, and clearly they haven't learned. Again, another centering issue. 90% of these cards have centering issues. You know what? I love my Pokemon cards, but come on, like the English printing companies, you gotta do better. Okay, now it's the Charizards. Obviously, we've graded a lot of Charizards already from Evolutions, but this is our next batch, so we started grading some of the less valuable cards. But okay, so this card, the centering is actually pretty close to perfect, which is very, very hard to come by. It does have, I believe, like a tiny scratch mark in the back or something. So that's the only thing. Like, you can't really see it. Like, it's just like kind of like at the top here. I think this is a PSA 10 in my opinion. I'd be surprised if it doesn't get a 10. He's pretty close to perfect to me because, like I said, like I feel like the grader is gonna be surprised too. It's, oh, all of them are off center. This one's not, right? So they're gonna give it a 10. I feel like that's gonna be a 10. This guy's pretty close to a 10 as well. There's no scratch marks, no print lines. Surface is pretty perfect to me. I think the centering is slightly off left to right. Right side is slightly thicker, but PSA doesn't really penalize the back centering as much, as long as it's not too crazy. Top and bottom is slightly off, right? So this is probably going to be a 9. Yeah, if you get a Charizard, one of the rare Charizards, hollow, full art, you grade them. That's the #1 rule for all PSA and Beckett grading. Grading for Pokemon cards, you get a Charizard, you grade it. Because if it's not worth a lot of money now, it's going to be worth a lot of money in the future. So these are the Charizard V's full art from Champions Path Elite Trainer boxes. these cards are notorious for having terrible condition because they're shaking around in the box, right? I examined all of them. None of them have chances of getting a Beckett 10, but I feel like I think at least one of them might get a PSA 10. Most of them have some flaws. The centering is slightly off, and the corners have there's some dings in the corner over here, for example.
Oh, this is from the tape.
Yeah, this is from the tape. Yeah, so the reason why we have tape is to make it easier for the grader to pull it out. So, and it's not touching the card. Don't worry. So.
Yeah, it's on the sleeves.
It's on the sleeves. Nothing is touching the card. So I feel like
this is really hard too.
Yeah, hopefully we can get 2 of these in PSA 10s. If not, one of them is fine. I just want to get a PSA 10 for this card, and maybe I'll sell some of the 9s. Okay, so we're gonna keep all the 10s and sell the 9s. And the 2 Charizard GXs from Burning Shadows, which is the pack that we just started holding today, and we pulled absolutely dog shit. That Burning Shadows has kicked our ass. Like that's just one of the sets. Burning Shadows, Primal Clash, have kicked our asses. Okay, everything else has treated us really well. Those are the 2. Okay, so time for the Express PSA services. Obviously, the reason why we selected that is because PSA, they don't actually let you select the regular service for these vintage Charizards because they're a lot more valuable than $200. So the limit for all of these are actually $200, but if it's like $300, $500, $600, they usually don't ding you. But if it's something really obvious that's over $1,000, they actually upcharge you. So that's kind of tough. So for the Charizards, you kind of have to do the 5-day turnaround express service, which I'm happy to do because I feel like they're going to be worth a lot more. So let's look at this. So the base set Unlimited Charizard. This is a card that I bought raw on eBay from a buyer and seller in Calgary. I looked at it. I feel like it's got a shot at getting a 7, but it does have some scratches on the hollow, and it's got some edge wear problems at the
Should I
back.
take it out?
It makes me
it's
nervous.
okay.
Yeah, let's keep them in the card saver. So my prediction is a 7 to 8. I'm happy with the 7, honestly. I still think it does have a chance of getting an 8 because I do think PSA grades vintage cards slightly easier than the modern cards because I got some like vintage 9s and 9s and 10s that are probably in worse condition than the modern 9s. Like the Kyogres and Suicunes, like my favorite PSA 9 Suicune, for example. There's some scratch marks over here, which I think if this were a modern card would probably get an 8. But I've actually seen the PSA 10 just went through auction, have like literally 2 print lines throughout the Suicune. I got a PSA 10. Like it's way worse than this. So if that card got a 10, this has to be a PSA 10. But this is actually, like, in my opinion, if this were a modern card, it'd probably be a weaker 9. And that card is probably a strong 8. But that got a 10. So this is just my theory. I think PSA grades these vintage cards slightly easier than the modern cards. But we'll test out the theory. I think this is probably, just realistically, I think it's probably a 7, which is like $1,000. But you know, it might be an 8. What do you think?
I don't know.
The centering is really, really good.
This is the card of it.
Yeah, this is the card. The centering is really, really good. Yeah, the centering is probably a 10 out of 10. Maybe slightly off left to right, but this is in the 10 parameters for centering for sure. Just a tiny bit, just some scratches over there. If you put it under a certain lighting, you can't really tell from the camera, but just flip it over. The front is pretty good. There's just some minor edge wear and just like a dot over here. Dot over here and somewhere in the back, like down here, like just centering. This is the worst part. There's some edge wear here at the bottom, and I would say it's probably a 7. I'm hoping for an 8, but it's got a chance of an 8. But realistically, I think it's a 7. Okay, so our prediction for the Unlimited Charizard is a 7. So this is this base set 2 Charizard that we bought. I think this is probably at least an 8. I'm hoping for a 9. In my opinion, I think it's probably an 8. It's in better condition than the other guy, but again, most of these have some scratches on the hollows. It's got some minor scratches, not too obvious. It's got some minor wear in the back. Centering is pretty close to perfect, but I think it's probably an 8. Hoping for a 9. I'm gonna predict a PSA 8 for this card. Yeah, the worst part is the corner down here, but I think it's within parameters of a weak 9 to a strong 8. What do you think?
8 maybe?
It's an 8, yeah. So PSA 8 for the base set 2 Charizard and PSA 7 for the
Which one is that?
base set Charizards. Yeah, that's on the bottom. Yeah. Oh, that's another submission trick. You always put the worst card at the top, so when they see the next card, they always get more impressed because it's slightly better. So that's another theory that I have. Okay, so these two are for PSA Express, and obviously the other card that I'm going to submit to PSA Express is actually a cross grading. That is for cross grading. So this is a CGC 8.5. As most of you know, CGC and Beckett both grade a little bit tougher than PSA. So I bought this card, examining it, thinking it might be a PSA 9. I don't want to crack it open from the case because I feel like CGC 8.5 is still pretty good, and I don't want to damage the card because I just don't want to do that. So I put the minimum grade as 8.5 for this. So if it gets better than a PSA 8.5, we're going to get back in the PSA slab. If not, they're just going to send this back to us. I looked at it really carefully. Honestly, I think it's a PSA 9. The only thing I see wrong with it is a few scratches on the hollow, which, like I said, is unavoidable for these cards. And just some slight issues in edgeware, I think, in the back. I think it's within parameters of a 9. Because, like I said, most of these PSA 9 vintage cards that I have scratches on the hollow, like all of them. So, my prediction is a PSA 9 for this. What about you?
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, the centering is pretty good. I think there's a few dings in the corner. Actually, probably not. Yeah, just a tiny bit over here. You know what? This is like, if you're just looking at the back, this is definitely more than PSA 9. In front, like I said, there's a few scratches over here, but most of these cards have scratches. And CGC 8.5 usually equates to a PSA 9. So I think it's probably gonna get PSA 9. So prediction: PSA 9 for the base set 2 Charizard. And I feel like base set 2 is really underrated because I love the color of the flame and the hollow for the base set 2 compared to the base set Unlimited. You just look at it, it's like a little bit greener, it's just a little bit tiny bit more colorful, looks more badass. I know back in the day base set 2 is not very loved, and it's become underrated because there's a lot less of these than these, and they're actually in better quality. So in the future, I feel like base set 2, because they're more rare and they're printed better, and the hollow graphic is a lot, obviously it's not as good as the shadowless and the first edition in the back, but I feel like the base set 2 has potential to increase in value in the future. So the two base set 2s we have, I feel like this is a 9, and the raw card is probably an 8, and this is a 7. So 7, 8, 9 for the 3 vintage Charizards that we have. So we also have these two first edition Dark Charizards from Rocket booster boxes from back in the day, from 1999. So as you can see, there's a hollow and the non-hollow version that we'll be submitting. The hollow version will obviously go into PSA Express, and the non-hollow will go into PSA Value or Bulk submitting services. So for our pre-grades for the Dark Charizard, I believe the hollow, it's in great condition. As you can see, this is pretty much packed fresh, but there are some issues for the centering. So pretty significant from left to right. I think it's still within the parameters of a 9, but unfortunately there is a little bit of edge wear and corner wear in the back. Also, some very, very, very minor scratches. So I would probably conservatively say it'll be a PSA 8 with a slight chance of becoming a PSA 9. That's my opinion. What about you? What do you think? The hollow.
Yeah.
It's off from left to right. Top and bottom is actually pretty good.
Be an 8 or 9.
Yeah. So it's got some edge wear in the back, but I still think it's within the parameters of a 9. So conservatively, let's say a PSA 8, potentially a 9. Let's hopefully it'll get a 9. And for the non-hollow regular rare first edition Dark Charizard, I think it's pretty safe to say that it will be a PSA 9 in my opinion, because obviously it doesn't have any hollow scratches because it's not a holographic, and also the centering is slightly better, and the back is slightly better. So I would say this is a PSA 9. So the PSA 8 for the Dark Charizard hollow, and the PSA 9 for the Dark Charizard non-hollow first edition. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for today. And please remember to like and subscribe. We're going to bring you lots of these submissions. Obviously, that we're going to do a reveal of all of these. A lot of these are coming back a little bit sooner because of our express service, and a lot of them are coming back later. So you want to subscribe to our channel to see more of our Pokemon content. Please remember to like this video, and also don't turn away if you want to submit some cards to PSA or Beckett as well, because we're actually going to be doing a video to show you guys exactly how we're going to submit like the 200 cards that we have on the table into PSA and Beckett. And we're actually going to combine the services too. We're going to go from submitting it on and putting it into your computer submission form and packing them together and sending them, going to the post office to sending them off. So please stay tuned, subscribe, and please turn the notification on so you can actually see more of our videos. This is Jesse, and this is CJ, Evie, Raichu, and Riolu. This is the Pokefam signing off.